Okay, good evening to you all. Today is our day 12 of this 3-month data analytics bootcamp. Like I said, this bootcamp will last for about 3 months, and today is our day 12. So, like always, we start by showing our outlines. That is what we are to cover for the day. So, we'll have a recap on the 11th, that is yesterday. And also today we are going to discuss about if O. Then we'll have question and answer, and then we conclude and we call it a day. So, yesterday we discussed about if and, which I told you is a conditional formula also, but it has to do with uh other logical operators of and, which you need to have all the criteria must be true for you to have the value if true. And if any of the criteria is false, you need to the result of false value is what you see in that. So that what this and did for you, and I believe you all practice it and you see what you can do with it. Okay, so today we are going to talk about if O. That's another logical operator that we have, which we can use inside if function in Excel. And if O is just like it's not opposite of if and, but they are similar with if and. But what if O did is that you can create two or more optional criteria. You can create two or more optional criteria. That is the criteria that's going to you are going to use using if or they are all optional. Any of the criteria that is true, any of the criteria that is true, you are going to have the value if true. So it doesn't need to be like in and all the criteria in and are true, while in O all the criteria, not all the criteria, even one of the criteria Okay, I'm sorry. This is it. Like I said, that's what this is what if or did. So we are going to look at that. So let me open my Excel file so that we practice how it works. So if you fully understand what if or is all about, if you fully understand what if O and is all about, so if O will just mean somehow it looks somehow very easy for you to understand. So let's create something here, or let's start with this simple example here before we go back there to create that one also. So now let's look at this data. For example, if you can recall yesterday, we have a criteria of female that is receiving below minimum wage to have 15,000 and the rest to have 5,000. So I'm deleting all this. What I'm going to create now is that I want to have a female that is, I want to have a criteria that will give 15,000 bonus to um either a female staff or any other person that has below minimum wage. So now these two criteria doesn't mean to apply it to one person, single person to have everything. It's just like we need one of the two. So it's either going to be a female or it's going to be someone with below average, so below minimum wage. So if we have any of the criteria that is true, we are going to have the value if true. So that's what we are going to do. So I'm going to say if open bracket, then I'll open it with O. So if O, now yesterday we used and today we are going to use O. But still, we are going to use the way we did it before. That means if this E3 is equals to female, comma, and this G3 is equals to below minimum wage, then I close my criteria. So this means that I put two criteria like before, but in this case, we need only one to be true. If one is true, we are going to have the value if true, which is 15,000. Otherwise, we want to put 5,000 to people that did not qualified for this. So then I press enter, then let me double click. So by default, it's only one person that has 5,000 in all this data that we have. It's because the person is a male and he has above minimum wage. So let me just copy some male data and just put it here so that we'll see. So now we have another person with minimum wage. So this person also has, okay, below minimum wage, yeah. So this person has above minimum wage. That's why he has 5,000. This one also has 5,000. So you see, it's a male with 80,000. So the person did not qualify for the criteria. But all other people, this person is above minimum wage. But the reason why the person has 15,000. Okay. So this is it. This person, like I said, has above minimum wage, but it's because the person is female. That's why it got the 15,000. So if you go across all this is how this formula works. So we can put a lot of condition. If not this, if not this, if not this. So it looks at either of the criteria we created, anyone that is fulfilled within the function, it will give us the value if true. And if all of them are false, that's when we are going to see the value if false. So this is how this if O works. Again, let's go to this data of that we have. You can recall yesterday we created something like this, which let me increase the formula bar. Sorry. We create. Okay, I'm so sorry. My network is very bad today also. So now if you look at this formula, we use and all the condition we created in this using and that's what how we created it. So now I want to create another result. Let me just call it the way we did before. Maybe I'll call it pregnancy test result 2. So what I'm going to do now is the criteria I will use in this is that we want to say if the person is female, that's what I just want to say. If the person is female and the interpretation, that is the classification of the parasite density is high, for example, yeah, so maybe it's high. So that when we want to see that pregnancy. So, but in all this, if we take this, for example, the one this formula that we have yesterday, maybe we want to apply it with and. I don't think it will give us the result because it's going to use all these o like that. But yeah, let's copy it. I'll paste it here and change it with and. Sorry, let me do that to save time. So I'll change this and to O. That's what I'm going to do. So I'll change the and to O. Wherever I see and, I'll make it O. Let me do that and explain what will happen to you. So now, any condition that we have here is either female and also the either female or white blood cells is 100 and also the interpret classification is very high. So if we have either of these three, we want it to be pregnant. Again, if it is male and high, we also want that. So any of these three criteria, once we have one, it's going to give us a pregnant. And also this second one, either of these two, one it is this, it will give us the result. So that's how it goes. That's what we are going to see. So now we don't need we don't need now we don't need all these three criteria that we have inside single if that we have, since it's if nested, we don't need that. Once we have either of the one, we're going to get the result. And that's why you see we have pregnant, pregnant, pregnant. If you look at this one, this pregnancy is not confirmed. That's because when we put this, we create a what do we call it? We create a criteria whereby if it is a female, E100, moderate, and that why it gave us this, because all these three must be true for us to get this pregnancy not confirmed. But if you look here, we got pregnant is because one of these criteria that we have here is confirmed, which is either female or E100, even though it is not very high. But since we have this is qualified and this also is qualified, definitely we are going to get what? We are going to get pregnant. But for example, if I turn this to male, for example, I turn this to male and I turn this to 200, you see pregnancy not confirmed. That because now it is what? Now it is male. That means all these criteria in this are not confirmed because they are dealing with female. The white blood cell is 200. All these criteria has 100. Then the result here is not high and very high, is moderate. And it's because this result is moderate that why we have pregnancy not confirmed, not low, not none. Because if this, for example, if this interpretation is not this pregnancy, maybe is this, when we got this, definitely we are going to get this none. So I don't know if you're understanding this explanation. When you create this O, it's going to look through the formula. Any condition, even if you put 100 conditions, like I told you yesterday in AND, if you have 100 conditions, 99 of them are true. Only one is false. It's not going to give you the true result. It will give you a false. And in O, if you have a condition that all the criteria you provided are false, that's the only when you are going to have false. But else, everything is going to be true. Else, everything is going to be true. So that's why there is something that maybe I'll tell you is just for you to understand how this it is, this issue of this and O. For the for the and, if we say, for example, true and false, we're going to get false. False and true. Well, okay, like I was saying, I'm explaining how this rule is for the true and all, but let's start with the and for the and all. So let's start with the and. Like I said, true and false is false. False and true is false. False and false is false. True and true That's the only way you are going to get true. So that's under this condition of true. So when we have true and false, is false. When we have false and true, is false. When we have false and false, is false. But when we have true and true, that's the only when where we are going to get true. For the O, when you say false or true, we're going to have true. True or false, we're going to have true. False. Hello, can you hear me, please? Okay, so like I said, false or false is going to give you false, and then true or true is going to give you true. So these are the rules that applies to O and also and. Let me repeat the O. I said false or true is going to be true. True or false is going to be true. False or false is going to be false. Then true or true is going to be true. So these are the rules that whenever you see this and an O, this is what it means. So please understand these rules. And whenever you are creating any condition, you need to use this and apply it well. So I think that this is it. This is all what we are going to discuss today. This is all what we are going to discuss today. So if you have a question, please go ahead and ask your question. If you have any question, please go ahead. Someone asks, can we subtract something from if function? Yes, you can subtract a lot of things from it. You can even multiply, you can plus all what you have learned in simple arithmetic, you can apply it here. And it's even part of your assignment, I think. But I don't think you covered that, so maybe it's not this week you will be asked that question, I think. The difference between if and O, I already told you in the class, in this class, is the difference between the two is that for the if and, all the conditions you created using if and must be true for you to get the value if true. But for the if O, the conditions you created, either of the condition, if it is true, you get the value if true. So that's the difference between the two. So for the if O is optional, so it will just look at only one and take it. It will just allow the rest to go. But for the if and, all the condition must be true. That's why I gave you the example that even if it is 100 conditions you created, but only one is false, but 99 are true, you are going to get false. So it's not going to be true. That's why I told you all these rules that true and false is going to be false. So this is what it means. Once you have a false in true, is definitely a false when you use and. So it's just a logic. This is how it works. So and O, for the O is option. So for the O is optional. So it's just like for you to create a just a scenario on something. telling, maybe you can tell your staff or your brother, okay, if you go to the office and there is a light, do something. If there is this, do this. If there is this, do this. So you are giving him option, option, option. Wherefore, and you have to give him everything. If you go to the office, unless there is this, there is this, there is this, there is this, then do this. Otherwise, don't do it. That's for the ant. I told you, when you omit bracket, you will get error. Then you have to close the bracket. That's it. Your formula will never work if you omit any bracket. And that's why when we started, I show you how to open it and how to close it. And I never tell you not to. I know some people, they don't want to close the last final bracket when they are writing function, because Excel used to do it for people when they are writing formula, not complex formula. But when you go deep in that and you started writing complex formula, definitely if you didn't close bracket, you will get error. But I take you through how to do that right from the beginning. So open the bracket, and whenever you are finished with it, close it. And let me tell you, issue of this opening and closing bracket, once you miss this, at the end of it, you'll not understand this, because you're going to get the error that you don't even know how to rectify the issue. So that way, when you are writing the function, the way we are doing it, take it step by step. You open it, put whatever you want, you close it, you put the comma, then you can. Even if you miss a comma, you're going to get mistake, error. It's going to show you error. And for you to debug the error, that's the headache for everybody. So you need to try your best to see that you follow everything accordingly. So this is it, I think. If you have a question, please go ahead and drop your question, please. Okay, go ahead, please. And then if there is no any question, I think we are going to call it a day. Then we meet tomorrow. Okay. So in the absence of any question, I think this is where we are going to draw the curtain, and then we meet tomorrow. Have a wonderful dream, and bye bye. Thank you.